And we're live. Back once again. You've got your scoreboard addicts minus Anthony. That guy is an enigma wrapped in a mystery. No idea what he's doing. He's always missed.
I will remember you.
Actually, I know exactly what he's doing. He's so our dear friend Anthony has decided that he is committed to identifying as a woman. So he's playing softball. What's worse is he's playing softball against other women and just destroying the league. It's gotten to the point where he's on the same cycle as they are. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's you know what? It's upsetting. It is. It's absolutely upsetting to just be a man and then take pride in ruining women's sports. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, what did they do to you? He's going to go after their voting rights next, I think.
That's his MO. But real quick before we get go, shout out to our buddy Jason from the Blue Line, the Blue Crew, and the 7th Avenue Squad. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday!
Oh, nice! Happy birthday, Jay.
We appreciate you. You're always a great guest when you come on the show. We love to run into at games. If you are a Ranger and or a excuse me, Knicks fan, and you see Jason at the games, like I said, though, he's with the Blue Crew. He's with the 7th Ave Squad. Give him a holler. Great guy to be around. Great guy to know. Happy birthday, Jay.
Happy birthday, brother. Class act.
Yeah. Not a good way to start off a show. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Like, what's coming next? You're going to tell me, did you hear Gary Busey fell down the stairs? He's dead. Like, what the fuck, man?
And then another good news. Look at my pop sent me in the mail. My dad lives in Florida. He was watching the show like a week ago, 2 weeks ago or something like that. I got home from Vegas and that was waiting for me. I'm like, I didn't order anything. I opened it up and I'm like, oh, look at this sweet old guy sending me stuff. Thanks, Pops.
Dude, that's absolutely amazing. Way to go, Mr. Velasquez. That is a beautiful gift. But I want to thank your father as well, because while he sent you that, your dad sent me like about $1,500 worth of liquor in the back. So I think he just said he loves me more. End of story. Just saying.
Anyway, moving on.
My dad's watching this, by the way, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to outdo this, and sends me one of those like live nude neon signs or something weird. But my father would take it to another level. Like, you know, the toolbox, like, hey, hey, hey.
the blue oyster.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's get it hot and let's get it fast and let's get it furious. And we kick it off with the American pastime. You know, usually I clap, I do the bop bop after that, but everything in New York with regard to baseball is so freaking pathetic that they don't deserve the clap. They don't. They deserve the clap.
They deserve the clap. I was about to say
they deserve the clap. All of them. All right. I feel like Randy Quaid in Major League 2, where like they're fighting on the field, and he's like, "I'll fight all of you," and he's trying to jump over the bleachers to like get to the team so he can punch them in the face. That's exactly how I feel. If you're a Yankee fan, that is how you feel about the Yankees. If you're a Yankee fan, that's 100% how you feel about the Yankees. It's a freaking joke. And then what's pissing me off even more about it all is that we've got fans from other franchises going, Yankee fans need to stop complaining. They've been a successful franchise forever. They only ever know success. And they're 5 games over 500. I got news for you. And T, I guarantee you'll agree with me. If you're a fan of a team and you don't expect them to win the division every single year while you're spending your hard-earned cash on merchandise, you're sitting there like, I only have cable so I can watch baseball. That's the only reason. So I can watch football and baseball and hockey. That's the only reason I have cable, because if I didn't have to, if I didn't love those sports, I wouldn't have cable. I wouldn't need it. I stream all my stuff through Netflix and Peacock and Plex and everything. I only have cable, my freaking $200 a month fucking cable bill, so I can watch the Yankees, Rangers, and Jets. That's it, because I don't watch ESPN. Fuck ESPN. All right?
Agreed.
And the audacity, are these fans that fucking stupid that they're just like, oh, they're 5 games over 500? Good enough. Yankees have the second highest average costing fucking tickets. For a family of 4 to go to a Yankee game, you're talking about a $400, $500 day, because it's going to cost you like $100 a piece for tickets. And even if it doesn't, even if you got $50 tickets, a beer still costs you like $15 at Yankee Stadium. If you want a steak sandwich, that's $27 at Yankee Stadium. A chicken
what is a hot dog now? Like $7.50? A hot dog, $7.50, something like that, $8. Parking, about $40-$50.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So to sit there and say, well, your team's 5 games over 500, that's good enough. Not for the fucking prices that we're paying. Not when a fucking baseball cap, an official baseball cap, costs $40, $50. That's ridiculous.
I think the problem is, especially with big market teams like the Yankees, is the casual fan thinks they have the right to spout their opinion about the diehard fan as if the casual fan knows anything about it. And while I'm fine with casual fans, don't get me wrong, like I'm a casual fan of like minor league baseball. So if we went to a Ferry Hawks game or like a Blue Claws game or something like that, or Rail Riders, we're going to go, we're going to cheer whatever team on. We're going to have a good time, have a couple beers, throw a hot dog down, maybe an ice cream, goof around, walk around, maybe take a picture with a mascot, razz the bullpen a little bit. And we're going to have a good time because we're not invested in that team's future or them winning championships. That's what a casual fan would do. And casual fans are fine, but then don't sit there. I'm not going to sit there at a Ferry Hawks game and be bombastic about my opinion to somebody that's sitting there with season tickets because I paid $10 to get in that day to have a couple beers. Like, my opinion doesn't outweigh the diehard fan's opinion. And I think that to equate it to an analogy, which I love to do, I love to just go spouting on my random rants. Imagine coming home one day and your parents are like, listen, we're selling the house, we're selling the car, and we're probably going to live in a boarding house because you know what, for 11 years of your life, Billy, we've been killing it. But this year we just don't got the mojo. So you're just going to like, what are you mad about? We killed it for 11 years. You had a house, a bedroom, we drove you around in a car. But this year, daddy's selling your Xbox, and you're going to go have to sell your body on the street to pay some funds. You're going to have to go get Epstein Island on yourself because this is not our year. You know, it had to take a weird turn because why not?
What pisses me off is that a lot of these fans are fans of other franchises that are like, the Yankees have had it good enough. You can't
do that, dude. You can't do that.
It's just
I don't like that at all.
Maybe the reason that your franchise suffers is because your fans tolerate shit fucking teams. And that's for every sport. If you sit there and go, well, at least we're not the worst, or we barely made it past 500, or fucking we made the playoffs, and that's good enough for you, then you're a shit fan. I'm sorry. You need to have better expectations of what they owe you as a fan, because I promise you there is no such thing as a poor owner. And when I say poor owner, I mean financially poor. There's no such thing as a poverty owner. There are poor owners, as in piss poor owners. Like the guy out there in Oakland, he's a piss poor owner. The guy down there in Tampa Bay, he's a piss poor owner. When you don't want to invest in your franchise and make them a proud franchise, because I'll tell you this right now, I'm from New York. The Yankees are called the New York Yankees. Tomorrow, if they move to fucking Washington, I wouldn't be a Yankee fan anymore because I'm not a Yankee. I am a New York fan. That's how simple it is. They represent my town, where I come from. So it's just like anything else. If you from someplace and you see somebody rocking your flag, you want them to be the best. Why do we root for our country in the Olympics?
I mean, you got to ease off of that because, according to mainstream media, national pride is a horrible thing. You never know. You can't really. That's not really being politically correct if you only root for your country. It's like last time I checked, if my country got into a war with somebody, like I'm pretty sure everybody here should be rooting for the country. So in the sports sense, when they play in the Olympics, that's a war. That's you want to dominate and be the best, is it not? If you're going to sit there and be like, oh, you know what? Well, my great grandmother was from Czechoslovakia, so I'm going to root on Czechoslovakia. Like over your own country, you should have to then move to Czechoslovakia.
I agree.
You have to eat soup for the rest of your life.
but
you know what? Real quick, I want to touch on what you said, and I hate you can't be a diehard fan and then have like 2 or 3 teams in the same sport. You can't do it. I don't understand it. I don't if somebody's gonna have that argument, like, yeah, you know what, the Yankees are sucking it up this year, but hey, you know what, my Dodgers are doing pretty damn well. It's like, no, you're not a fan then. You're just like a cat. You're a fan. You can be a fan of the sport. You'd be like, yo, I love baseball. I watch West Coast. I watch East Coast. I love baseball. That's fine. You could be gung-ho on the sport itself, but you can't sit there and say you're a Yankee fan, but then have like a team in the rears. You know what I mean? If the Yankees get eliminated in the playoffs, of course, like you might have a rooting interest in somebody else. Somebody has that, I would say like that fan interaction that like, oh, yo, dude, this guy went through this on this team. And you know what? Like, I want to see him win, or he's been in the league for 20 years and he hasn't seen a World Series. I'd love to see him get there. That's fine. But if your team is still in the mix, you can't have a second team.
Or if they're a long-suffering franchise, your team gets put out and you want the Pirates to win the World Series because they've been shit since the 60s.
Right.
Or since the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, I supported the Nationals when they first came through because ultimately the Nationals were the Expos. There was a lot of conversation about getting rid of the Twins and the Expos at the time. Those of you who are younger, you may not remember. But at the time, in the early 2000s, there was a lot of talk about getting rid of the Expos and getting rid of the Twins. And, if you're a fan, you don't want them to get rid of teams. The team's already established. They have a history. You remember them, you don't want to get rid of them. And the Expos moved to Puerto Rico. And my family obviously lives in Puerto Rico, and I was kind of like, oh, good. Now I have like something to kind of talk about with my family. Like the Expos were splitting games between Montreal and Puerto Rico. So I had a little conversation with my family, something to talk about because our teams were there. When Carmelo Anthony was playing for the Knicks, Puerto Ricans went crazy because Carmelo's half Puerto Rican. And that was another thing to like really bond over. I mean, obviously I'm a Knicks fan because I'm from New York, but I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, I'm a diehard fucking Nats fan. I supported them for a lot of years because I just wanted the franchise to get better. But push came to shove. If they're playing the Yankees, fuck the fucking Nationals. They can lose every game as far as I'm concerned. I'm not. But I'm just tired of other fans being like, your team's 5 games over 500. Stop crying. Fuck you. We're in last place. If your aspiration as a fan is for your team to be barely better than 5 games over 5, that's what you think is a successful season, you're a fucking loser. I'm sorry, you're a loser. If you don't want to win the championship every year, you're a fucking loser.
That's like
a team to go out there and put a competent team on the field and try to win a championship every fucking year, no matter what the sport is. You're a loser and you have a loser mentality.
Well, that's the same argument. Like, and we have it multiple times. I would say like it happens maybe 4 or 5 times every 10 years in the NFL where you'll have a team go, 11-6 now, with the 17-game series, 11-6 and not make the playoffs. And some podunk shit team will get 9 wins and manage to make it in their division. And the fans are sitting there like, oh, we're doing great this year. It's like, no, you fucking ain't. You're mediocre and you got in because everybody around you was worse. But so, that's like but again, that's that. If you're a real fan, you're sitting there like, this is fucking embarrassing. We had 9 wins and we're going into the playoffs and we're gonna get fucking smoked.
But that's that is what expanded playoffs does, right? Yeah. So the MLB has expanded playoffs to 12 teams now, and now teams are going to make the playoffs that probably shouldn't make the playoffs, and they're going to get bounced in the first round. They're going to be shit teams, but they're going to go. But we made the playoffs, so we're a good team. That's not true.
Consolation prize.
You're going to get a lot of mediocre to bad teams, and then you're going to get the teams that are on the cusp of making the playoffs every year. They're barely over 500, and they're going to tell you, the fan, that they're on the right path because they almost made the playoffs, or because they made the playoffs and got bounced out in the first round. That's what they're going to tell you. And year in, year out, you're going to go to games, you're going to spend money, and the team will never get better. I know this because I'm a Knicks fan, and that's what's happened for 20 years. For 20 years. I haven't seen the Knicks make a real run in the playoffs since the 90s. But every year they're on the cusp. They're right there. Right there.
Oh, right this year, though. I respect their push this year a lot.
I do, but this isn't what happens when they don't make the playoffs next year, but don't make it. 16 teams in the end, more than half the league in the NBA makes the playoffs. Don't sit there and sell me a story about how you're a good team when you're only in the top half. Good job. You weren't those, like, it's like, congratulations. You're just smart. You're smarter than half the fucking class. That's why you have to get a 65 to pass, because like being smarter than half the people is not good enough.
So I want to pose this question to you, and I mean, it's just a talking point. I don't think there's any wrong answers, but I think there's some truth to it. We love George Steinbrenner as far as being an owner of the Yankees. I mean, he propelled them to like new levels of, I would say, like he redefined what a franchise could be. But
he made it a business. I'll be honest with you. He made it into a business.
He did make it a business, but he made it the franchise, dude. Like he did. He made it like the sports franchise. And I think right now that might be a chunk of the blame as to why the Yankees are just okay with being mediocre. And the reason I say that is generally why a team wants to win a championship, as far as from like a front office and owner standpoint, is then they can raise ticket prices. They can raise their ad revenue sales and stuff like that. They can now raise anything associated with the team. They can raise prices. So if you win a championship, all of a sudden it's maybe an extra $10 to walk into the ballpark per person on average. And maybe a 2-minute commercial during the game just went up $15,000, $20,000. But the Yankees are so big that they can suck for fucking 20 years, and they will still get people that be like, I go out of their way to pay an exorbitant amount of money to put their advertising on the field and during a game. And I think they're too big to fail at this point, where there's no way to hurt them. The fans not going to hurt them. If everybody didn't show up to the ballpark all season, they're still going to be profitable, because that's not where they make their money.
You're absolutely,
and the only people you're going to hurt is they're going to lay off a whole bunch of people that work at the ballpark, and that's going to hurt the working class man. It's not hurting Hal Steinbrenner. The only way to hurt them is for advertisers to be like, "Yo, dude, you haven't been in a World Series in how long? No, I'm not giving you $30,000 to run a 2-minute ad."
You're absolutely right. And it just comes down to I always say George Steinbrenner wasn't the smartest owner. He wasn't the best owner. He wasn't the best anything, but there was never a question about what his intention was. His intention was to win. His son wants to make money. People are sitting there talking about how, the Yankees are still spending money. I got news for you people. I'm going to do some quick math for you right now. The Yankees are not spending money. I don't care that their payroll is number 2 or 3 in the league right now. I don't care. They are not spending money, because I'll tell you how, right? 10 years ago in 2013, the New York Yankees were worth $2.3 billion. They spent $230 million on their payroll for their franchise, right? So that is arguably, what is that, 10% of their overall pay cost for their franchise? Their value is on payroll.
Right.
If you put into the interest rate, right, that's gone up, inflation, not interest rate, the inflation that's taken place between 2013 to now, $2.3 billion is now $3.2 billion, and payroll, $230 million in payroll, is now $301 billion or $301 million in payroll. All right. The Yankees payroll right now is $290 million, except they're worth $7.1 billion. Oh, but they're still the number 2 highest payroll. That's because they're paying like 4 guys stupid fucking contracts. Yeah. Stupid. Absolutely dumb. Okay? It's not because everybody's got a huge fucking paycheck. It's because Garrett Cole, Josh Donaldson, fucking Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton account for $100 million. That's why. There's 22 other guys on the team that don't even make like $10 million a year? Are we really going to sit here and pretend that Hal Steinbrenner is spending money? We used to outpay everybody else in the league by $100 million. Everybody's right there with us. So everybody else caught up and we're spending what? Nothing. And now these 4 guys are going to come off the books, right? There's about 4 guys. Bader's coming off the books. Donaldson's coming off the books. A couple of other guys are coming off the books to free up $40 million. I guarantee you Hal Steinbrenner doesn't get anybody in the team. And I'm not sitting there saying, oh, you got to go out there and buy players. I'm just saying is he is not reinvesting into the franchise what he's taking out of the franchise. Their revenue is through the fucking roof and he doesn't give it back to us.
I don't want to come off like a spoiled Yankee fan because that's the MO of everybody else in the league. It's like, oh, you guys, all you know is winning and spending money. Shut up. And that's a fair argument. I'm fine with that argument. Okay? It doesn't bother me if that's your take. That's cool. Whatever. But my thing is I grew up under the reign of George Steinbrenner. And I think the team should be run under the guise of what would George do. And if George Steinbrenner was still running the team, where's Bryce Harper right now? Because it guarantees a fucking Yankee.
He's playing right field for the Yankees.
Oh, this dude grew up a Yankee fan and he wants to play for the team? So fucking pay him. Pay him right now. Soto, he's a Yankee. No problem.
Our outfield's probably Soto, Judge, and Harper.
Yeah.
And Machado's playing third base.
Yeah. Not that I love Manny Machado, but you can't deny that guy's...
He's down.
I'd take a fucking severely injured Manny Machado over Donaldson any day of the week.
I agree with you 100%.
I mean, like he's like losing toes as the innings progress. Like somebody comes out and goes, takes another one, and I bet you he still makes more plays and can get his ass around the bases and put the ball in play a lot better.
Well, Donaldson's out for the rest of the season, it seems like, and now his career as a Yankee is now over. Thanks for stealing $52 million from us, you piece of shit. But goodbye.
Wash my hands.
So, Rook, I heard you had a ring.
Yeah. We had the field was a mess. We got there, and they were trying to fix it, and they decided the umpire walked around and was like, "Yeah, someone's getting hurt tonight if we play on this, so we're just gonna call it."
I wonder.
Nobody wanted dirt in their dresses, so
no one wanted the skirt in the dirt. Definitely not. And we just had a bunch of guys come back from injury, so we don't want anyone else tearing a hamstring. But listen, enough about my softball men's league. I will say I have to clarify that it's a men's league softball.
There's no such thing as men's league softball.
Sure there is. Sure there is.
I like how he's like, no, the field's a mess. No, a couple guys are already injured. Nobody wants to get hurt. It's fucking softball. It's not. Nobody's doing like friggin' I-beam work in Manhattan on the 30th floor. If you get hurt playing softball, you shouldn't be around any type of sports field.
Well, we have it's an older league, so there's a lot of guys that are older and like.
You're not helping you're helping my point. You're not hurting it.
Let them go play golf.
I know.
All right. Softball. Saying softball is a men's sport is like saying peeing sitting down. Men can do that too. Yeah, I guess so. Doesn't make it fucking okay.
I didn't say it was a men's sport, but it's definitely a recreational sport for men.
It's not.
It's not for men. You could sit there and steal your wife's lady speed stick in the morning, and everybody in your office knows exactly what went on, and it's not for dudes.
Oh, but it's deodorant. It's gender neutral. It's not.
It's a secret for a reason. Well, here's the thing about my Yankees take is I recently saw this on Facebook, and it was someone saw somewhere it was like 20% of the draft picks from a certain year. Let's say that's 15 years of the Yankees. 20% of the Yankees draft picks have gone to the MLB, and someone's like, the Yankees draft really well. It's like Yankees; those players don't end up on the Yankees roster though. Most of the time, those guys are playing on other MLB rosters. The problem with Brian Cashman is he does not develop this talent within their own organization. I'm going to give you a couple names if you guys remember, because it's just a failure of Brian Cashman. Somehow he's still here despite not being able to develop any talent whatsoever. Do you guys remember Chance Adams?
I do. Familiar with his work.
Chance Adams was supposed to be one of the up and coming pitchers that was going to be a stud for the Yankees. Where the hell is he? Never panned out. You have Deivi Garcia, who actually pitched a couple games to the Yankees. I think it was in 2018, I want to say.
No, more recently. He pitched in 2021.
Did he? What was the year? What was the year though where they pulled that bullshit? Wasn't that in 2018 or 2019?
Dude, that's a long time ago. I'm gonna say it was 2020. I think it was it might have been the short year, 2020.
I don't know if it wasn't the short year, but it was one of the years where they did that bullshit because Jay Happ was still on the team. That might have been 2019. Let's say 2019, right? They pulled that bullshit with him, and ever since then he was never good again, right? Like what happened to all these guys who were promised? Like they always say the time, Esteban Florio is supposed to be really good. Oswaldo Peraza is supposed to be really good. Oswaldo Cabrera is supposed to be really good. These guys are not being developed properly in minor leagues. And this all falls on Brian Cashman, his general manager. Your job isn't just to put a roster in the field, but and also develop young talent so they eventually get to your major league squad and contribute to the team. I mean, Anthony Volpe, I'm giving him a pass. He's a young kid he was barely in AAA last year. He's figuring it out in the MLB right now. So I give him a pass. But let me ask you guys if you guys have heard this several times. All right. I don't know if you guys have your bingo boards in front of you, but have you heard Boone say last night, I saw a lot of good things out there. We had a lot of good at-bats.
Yep.
Did you hear him say, we're going to figure it out. We have to fight through it, and it's right in front of us, but we just have to take it. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, it's the same thing every night. And that's just from last night's presser. You have the presser night before. It's the exact same thing every time. The guy says a whole lot of everything, but it's a whole lot of nothing. And I'm just sick of Boone. I'm sick of Cashman. This team's not going to go anywhere. They're not going to improve. It's a disaster right now.
I didn't appreciate, and there are some people getting on Talking Yanks with John Boy Media. They're getting on them because they made fun of Boone the other night when the Yankees lost. But basically, the question was asked about walking Shohei Ohtani, and
I love this, by the way.
And they asked him about and he goes, you know what? When you're the manager of the New York Yankees, then you can make the decisions. And then people have a problem with them clowning him when they lost that game. First of all, fuck Aaron Boone, okay? If you're a manager of a franchise and you don't want to be criticized and second guessed about your decisions, go back to ESPN and mimicking other better players' batting stances because you did that better than you ever managed a baseball game in your life. I completely regret the 2003 playoffs beating the Red Sox, all right, with that knuckleball because that he hit a home run off of Tim Wakefield. Because if he doesn't hit that home run, he's not the manager of the New York Yankees right now. It's a fact. If he doesn't hit that home run, he is not the manager of the New York Yankees right now. He does not deserve this job. He got it because, like a lot of other people that were managers of the Yankees, Joe Girardi, they don't really deserve the job, but they played with the team previously. And for some reason, the Steinbrenner family thought that made them qualified to be the manager of the franchise. I got news for you guys. I'm not a Mets fan by any stretch of the imagination, but Wally Backman has been on in the Mets minor league system as a manager forever. You know what he's probably never going to be? The big club manager.
100%.
Aaron doesn't deserve his job. Don't get me wrong. Cashman needs to be fired too. But I don't think you can get a new GM and keep Aaron Boone.
I blame the media. I really do. I blame people because these guys aren't sports fans, because if I'm sitting there and you're going to give me that answer of like, who the fuck are you to second guess me? I'd sit there and say, well, I'm part of a fan base that we all said right from Jump Street when you were sitting there spouting off about how Donaldson is an everyday starter and IKF is an everyday starter. We all sat here collectively as fans and said, you're out of your fucking mind. And clearly we were right. So I think we have the right to second guess you, because if you come up with that in the preseason, wow. My wife's involved now. Uh-oh.
So TJ said, hot take, Rook plays a ladies sport. And then TJ's wife said, that's not nice. Someone's in trouble. It's gonna be
always in trouble.
It's all fun and games until you hear that door open up and she starts beating you on live freaking podcast.
Yeah, dude. And I will say this: my wife is Puerto Rican, and she will take a slipper off and beat the shit out of me with it. And I like it. Fiery.
You were saying that. Sorry.
So yeah, dude, it's you can't sit there. Number one, like you said, you can't sit there and be the manager of a huge franchise and think you're not going to get second guessed. But if you don't expect to get second guessed when you've made horrible fucking judgment calls and sat here and defended the front office with the product you put on the field this year, saying that these guys are everyday starters and you have nothing but confidence in their ability, showing their track record as being dog shit. So either you're a full of shit asshole, or you have some kind of learning disability. Like that's the only way you get away with that. Like you just like, yo, dude, I'm just here to get paid. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say whatever they want me to say because they pay the bills. Fine, I can respect that. Whatever. People do crazy things to pay the bills. But if you honestly think that you're not up for debate as to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and you're the guy that said Josh Donaldson has my full confidence at third base, take a fucking walk. Like you're an idiot.
Agreed. So Carlos Rodon, or Rodon, however he wants to pronounce his name, I'm pretty sure he calls himself Rodon, which is wrong. Just so everybody knows, it's wrong. That's how, like, the rednecks down in South Carolina pronounce his Cuban last name. It's Rodon, but whatever. He wants to call himself Rodon.
What about Rodan? Isn't that like a Godzilla character?
That's Roldan. I think it's Roldan.
Okay,
is it Rodan or is it Rodan or Roldan?
I thought it was Rodan.
It might be Rodan. It might be Rodan. But Carlos Rodon obviously did not have a good outing the other day. He pitched about 4 innings, gave up 4 runs on 2 home runs and quite a few walks. And as he's leaving the mound in the second inning, I'm sorry, I said he pitched 4 innings. He pitched 2 innings. As he's leaving the mound, obviously he's getting the boo birds, right? Right, justifiably. You're supposed to be our top big guy that we just signed in the offseason. You've pitched, 2-3 games, and you don't make it past the second inning. And his reaction to being booed by Yankee fans in Anaheim is to blow kisses at them. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you like that at least he showed some sort of response and that he's alive, or do you want him to be dead inside or smiling like all the other Yankees on the bench that seem not to care?
I think I'd respect him as a competitor, as an athlete, as somebody that plays a sport that I watch and am invested in. I think I'd respect him more if he like owned it. And then like, as he was walking off the field, like did one of these, like, I got to be better. You're right.
Okay.
Everybody loves you. Everybody, even the people that are booing you, are like, he fucking knows. I'm glad he knows. I hope he comes out motivated, like, yo, I'm going to be better than this. And in an interview, do an interview after that, like, oh, the fans were giving it to you. Like, yeah, they have every right to give it to me. I'm coming back. I'm gonna give 110%, and I'm gonna give them what they deserve. Dunzo. End of story. No one says a bad thing about you, but you want to be babyish about it, and like did they hurt your feelings? Did they really get? Do you really think that your performance was not worthy of such accolades of booing?
It's to me, it's one of those things. I learned this as a young soldier. When you're in a bad mood, when you're pissed off about your performance or something like that, and somebody comes up to you and antagonizes you after you're already kind of mad at yourself, there's one of 2 things that you can do. You can either tune them out and give them the I don't give a fuck about you face, like that dead inside. You're talking through me. You're not talking at me. I don't give a fuck what you have to say because you're not going to affect. I'm already pissed off. I'm not happy, and I'm not going to let you talk down to me or whatever. You're dead to me. You're wasting your breath because I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Fuck you. That's the first thing that you can do. The second thing you could do is antagonize them right back because you already don't feel good.
Right.
I think, and I'll be honest with you, like I'll never understand fans booing their own players and then cheering them the next day. I'll tell you this right now. I will never cheer on Josh Donaldson. I didn't like him when we got him. I think he's a douchebag person, let alone a bad baseball player. So, like, I'm not that guy that's going to be like, fuck Josh Donaldson until he hits a home run, and then I'm like, he's okay in my book. No, when we traded for him, I didn't like him. I don't like him now. I never liked him on the team. Whenever he was in the lineup, I was like, this motherfucker again.
Dude, but if you pay your price of admission and you want to let the player hear it, not that I agree with it or anything like that. I mean, it's just obviously they're going out there and trying. If somebody's just sitting there kicking the ball around and not hustling, then they deserve to get like that's what you reserve the boo for. Like you could have beat out a ground ball and you fucking prima donna'd it down the line. Like you deserve to get booed because you know what? As a competitor, you fucking know better.
Right.
But I think like booing somebody for having a bad outing, yeah, I really wouldn't do it because they didn't go out there to try to have a bad day. That's not what they're aiming to do. You know what I mean? It happens, and especially in sports, especially like baseball, dude. You hit the ball 3 times out of every 10 at bats, and you're going to the Hall of Fame.
No, not anymore. Batting average doesn't matter to these fucking nerds.
Yeah, well, apparently. But you know what I mean? Like, so I'm with you. Like, I'm not gonna boo a player for having a bad outing. I'm gonna reserve my boos for like stuff that's unjustifiable. Like not legging it out, being lazy out there, just costing the team something. Right? No heart, no effort. That's what I reserve my boos for. But the fans have every right to do it, and I think as a professional athlete, they're trained in the offseason how to handle fan bases and PR.
They have the right to do it within certain confines of the game, right? I mean, we've been to games where we've
at the stadium. I'm not like right, and I understand where you're going.
Stadium where people have brought up people's wives and family members. Right. And that has nothing to do with the game, and it's inappropriate. Right. And you don't. And we've sat there and told Yankee fans that did it to Jeff Francoeur, who's a great guy. Jeff Francoeur is a great guy, and we were ribbing him, but we were ribbing him about baseball. This guy decided to bring in his wife and kids into the conversation, and we were like, "Whoa, buddy, shut the fuck up! Like that's inappropriate. You don't say that. Like, first of all, there's other people here."
I'm pretty sure we were trying to antagonize that guy into a fight because we were screaming back at Jeff, like, "Jeff, you're still awesome. Don't listen to this fucking idiot." And that guy just sat there and did nothing. It's like we put the ball in his court because it's like, you know what, dude? You deserve to get a 2-piece to the face. But like, it's just stupid. And I agree with you. Like, these fans that'll fucking write hate mail to these guys, like they'll sit there talk. Like, you want an athlete? Don't you want that? Like, don't you want that athlete aspect of a professional athlete? Like you like my son. If my son turned around and was like, "Oh, Daddy, my favorite player, is Aaron Judge, and I want to write him a letter and send it to Yankee Stadium," you know what I mean? You want some type of like a player to read something like that and respond accordingly or whatever like that. You don't. And there's fucking 50-year-old men that'll sit there and write a letter like, "You're a piece of shit and you cost me a mortgage payment. I bet that you're gonna get 2 hits." And it's like, dude, grow the fuck. You're a loser. Grow up. Like, that's just sad and pathetic. Like, it's embarrassing. But again, like at the level of him getting his feelings hurt for booze, like, dude, grow up, own it. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, and he kind of recanted after. He was like, it was probably not the smartest move to make. There's a lot of things I could have done differently, and I didn't play well, and I wasn't in a good mood about it. And I emoted.
I can accept that, no problem. That doesn't bother me, whatever.
That's not what I was trying to do out there. I just it wasn't the smartest move to make. And they were like, what did they say? He's like, I honestly don't even know. I just know it was negative, and I just was trying to give them something back what they're giving me. I mean, I got it. I understand. Over in the ballpark in Queens, the Mets are 45-51, 6 games under 500 in 4th place. They are not doing much better than the Yankees. The Yankees are in last place as well, but they're 3 games over 500, which just show you what a powerhouse the AL East is. Baltimore Orioles in 1st place. Good for the Orioles. I think they're one of those franchises that we were talking about where they haven't been good and now they are good, and we clap it up a little bit for them. But that's enough for baseball. Let's get into a little something.
Whiskey of the week.
But before we get into Whiskey of the week, let's get a word from our sponsor.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever, and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code Scoreboard to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Sincerely want to ask Gingerbread, who's the British guy that does our promo? Good job, British guy.
I agree.
Are you wearing? Oh wait, hold on. Is he wearing Sienna's jersey?
No, I'm wearing this is the softball league jersey.
Like I said, are you wearing Sienna's jersey?
Funny guys, funny. All right, get back to your whiskey of the week.
There you go. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, buddy. So I got a banger this week. Little Angels Envy private selection. This bad boy is 110 proof. If you don't know, Angels Envy is a finished bourbon whiskey. It's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in port wine barrels. So normal Angels Envy, I believe, is 80 proof. This is cranked up to 110 proof. I'm a big fan of finished whiskeys. I like anything, toasted, or big fan of Old Forester 1910. And when I seen this, I had to jump on it. $100 price tag. I'm not sure if it's worth the price, but it's definitely an interesting one. So on the nose, it's just all sweetness, and then you get a little bit of the ethanol from the alcohol. You can tell it's much more proofy than the normal Angels Envy, which is normally just, you smell no alcohol on it, but very sweet smelling. You pick up a little bit of the wine on it, but not a lot. Port wine is, has a certain smell to it. If you ever drank port wine, most people don't drink port wine. I don't know. It's kind of like a late 1800s thing, port wine. I feel like you never hear of somebody like like I have family members, older family members that drink this or that. And never once did somebody who's like, oh, I love the port wine. Like, I don't think I've ever seen somebody order it, but it definitely gives it a certain characteristic to it. And it comes through in the flavor 100%.
Port wine is definitely very old. It's like an old timer thing.
But for 110 proof, you get a little Kentucky hug, a little burn going down the gullet, but it is so smooth. And that port wine, I feel like, smooths it out. It gives it like a very silky, almost mouthfeel and texture. It's very sweet. You get your typical bourbon sweetness. This one's more caramel than anything, but you definitely get that wine finish. And I don't want to sit here and say like I'm a connoisseur of port wine. Like I said, I've maybe tried it once or twice, but you can tell where the difference is, and that port wine definitely smooths it out a little bit. I think it's very, very good. I don't know if it's worth $100. I think there's a lot more bottles that are in that price range for better. I'd rather probably go with a Booker's than this, but this is one of the first times I've seen it sitting on a shelf. I jumped on it. If you like Angel's Envy and you like proofy stuff, you'd absolutely love this. So, cheers.
Well done.
Very good.
Am I the only one drinking? Nobody has like anything to drink. All
No,
right, thank God, Nick. Thank
Well,
God.
you didn't say, Nick, what are you drinking? Like, how about give me
I didn't know, dude. It's been a while, and I see Rook staring at me. I'm like, oh shit, is Rook about to pull out a banger? Is he about to pull out the pappy? I don't know what's about to happen.
I don't have anything because I didn't realize we were up to whiskey of the week, so I just watched.
Oh yes, and Rook is also on the rag along with his. Nick.
So I'm drinking Jefferson's Ocean at Sea. Well, I got this for our Whiskey with Friends event that we do monthly.
At Rook's house.
At Rook's house. Yeah, I was not a fan with his beautiful shag carpet in that basement. God damn, it's beautiful.
Can we pull up that picture? Because I mean, if the battlefield was lined with shag carpet, I would go lay my life down on the line just to crawl through that shit. It was amazing. I have to ask, Rook, is any of your family watching this right now? Because if you haven't gotten it on that shag carpet downstairs, like you're doing something wrong. I may sneak into your house the next time you're on vacation with my wife. I put a dent in that shag carpet. I'm sorry. And I know my wife is probably still watching. And babe, we're taking a little trip to Rook's house. Airbnb a la Rook.
I will say no because it's the kids' playroom, so it's a little weird.
You just pick out a corner for yourself.
You just hear some moaning and I don't know, like squeezy toys going.
I mean,
it looks like it's been assaulted.
And to be fair, Rook, if I was gonna pull a B&E on your house, I would at least have the courtesy to then do the old dog skiing across the carpet when I was done.
But we do have we do have that picture.
The picture is amazing.
There we go.
We crawled from end to end on his rug because it was so soft and amazing.
Well, I loved how it happened because Nick went down there to see it because it's the first time he's seen my house. And then he was like standing on the rug and he's like, hey, let me feel this rug. And he put his hand down. And they started calling. And then you went down. You didn't even stand on it. You got to the end of the steps and just immediately started army crawling. And I'm like,
I knew the requirements of what I was supposed to do there. My guy Nick was down in the trenches, and I got right down in there with him.
Called low crawling, lawyer. So anyway, I'm drinking Jefferson's Ocean aged at sea. It was sour. I don't think I've ever had a bourbon that tasted sour. This tasted sour. One of the things I did not like about it was it's not viscous at all. It's very watery, very thin. It has that ethanol smell to it. I honestly, I want to say it was like a $70 plus bottle. I honestly wasn't impressed by it at all. I did not care for it. I'm sorry, Jefferson's. Try again next time. I'm sure maybe.
I want to say that was batch Voyage 24, correct? So you're definitely getting different product from different voyages a little, but I remember having Jefferson Ocean and thinking that it was, and I mean years ago, so probably one of the first batches that came out. And I remember thinking it was really good. And this one, like you said, was very thin. It wasn't impressive at all. And it definitely, honestly, I wouldn't be impressed at a $30 price tag, let alone double that.
Yeah.
So I don't have a whiskey with me, but for Whiskey with Friends this weekend, I did the Jefferson's Reserve small batch, and it wasn't that. It was a similar price point as the Ocean one, and it didn't blow me away either. It wasn't that amazing. It was heavy on the ethanol. I remember we drank both of those, and it was like you immediately had like that alcohol taste, that ethanol taste, that flavor. And I just remember thinking like, man, this is not great. And I actually looked it up. So Jefferson Reserve isn't really like one of those like per se Kentucky bourbon. Like they're not made in Kentucky.
No.
Right. It's one of those, they pretend to be Kentucky bourbon, but they're really not. It's like bottled.
I'm sure it's MGP.
It's bottled in like Arkansas. We saw in the bottle. And it's one of those ones where they just take the different bourbons from different real bourbon companies and then mix it all.
Buy the barrels.
They
buy the barrels. They blend it themselves. They have a certain mash bill that they want to buy. No, but what's funny is the Jefferson Reserve had, I think, a little better flavor profile than the Ocean, a little more like, substance to it, which was insane, I thought. But yeah, neither one was very impressive, and both of them were like, I guess the best word is bland.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then I'm probably not going to buy another bottle again because I just don't think it's worth it at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that I'm waiting to try from Jefferson is their cast strength Ocean. I think that I might get, but I don't know with the price point. I don't know if I'm going to throw. And Jefferson's coming out with a lot of different things. The only thing I like from Jefferson that I actually have in the bar behind me is and they don't make it anymore. Jefferson's Groth cask. They take a Groth wine cask and age it in that, and that it's a finished whiskey, and that was very good, very sweet, a different type of sweetness, but very good. And they discontinued that. I guess they lost their partnership with Groth, and they don't make it anymore. So.
Yeah.
But as we move on, today NFL teams reported for for summer camp.
Wait, before you guys get onto that, did you guys talk about the Women's World Cup?
You're right. You know what? I did throw shade at Rook and say you have a better chance of hearing us talk about Women's World Cup than seeing Rook. And here Rook is. So I think we do have to touch on Women's World Cup really quick.
Yeah.
And the one thing, hold on before you get going, the one thing I want to do so bad. And you know what? I'm glad I have the opportunity to do this. Megan Rapinoe, fuck you. Okay, number one, that stupid Nike's ad that I got to see that's like her in a Star Spangly outfit, the cartoon that they drew her and trying to pretend like she's American. Like, can we get the fuck out of here already? Kneeling on the flag and shit like that and running down the country. But yeah, she's Captain America. Fuck you, Nike. I stopped buying your shit years ago, and I will continue to never buy your crap. Number two, her comments on transgenders in soccer and her saying that there should be a way for them to get in. Yeah, as you fucking retire. As you retire, you're going to be okay with it because guess what? You're going to get whoever's out there is going to get their ass kicked up and down the field by a biological male. But you're okay with it because you made your money and you're getting the fuck out. I'm pretty sure they got their ass kicked by what? The boys 14U team?
Something like that.
Correct?
Yeah,
but you think it's going to be fair to let men into your fucking sport and it just happens to be on your last season when you're retiring and you made your money and you made your fame and you're on your way out. Fuck everybody that comes behind you, right? Yeah, you're a role model. Everybody should look up to you. But I'm done with my rant. Go ahead, Brooke.
TJ missed the memo of how we're going to handle this, but
yeah, he did.
He must have. All right, so Women's World Cup.
No rundown for the Women's World Cup.
It started. All right, next topic.
So moving on.
I thought we were going to do the rundown of things we'd rather do than watch the World Cup of soccer with the women.
I'm one of them right now. So as you see in that little cut screen that we have, number 26 of the New York Giants holding up the stadium to some fake chant that no Giants fan ever said. Number 26 not reporting to camp. Comments came out today about, and let's just clarify something. We've seen a lot of different media outlets try to portray it that he said he's going to fuck the Giants, and he said fuck the Giants, and I'll just not report to. He didn't say that. Okay, what he said was I could say fuck the Giants and not show up and not play, and that would break my heart. And anyone that knows me knows I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I have the full quote here if you want to.
Yeah, go ahead, read that bad boy.
My leverage is I could say fuck you to the Giants. I could say fuck you to my teammates, and be like, you want me to show my worth? You want me to show how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up. I won't play it down, and that's a play I could use. Anybody who knows me knows that's not something I want to do. It is something that's crossed my mind. I never thought I would ever do that. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, Jesus, I might have to take it to this level. Am I prepared to take this level? I don't know.
That's not him saying fuck the Giants. It's not him saying fuck my teammates. That's him saying that that's basically the only thing that he can do. And that might be something that he resorts to because that's the only thing he can do. So, I mean, I don't know what that means to you as a Giants fan. And honestly, I don't feel bad for these running backs at all. The game has changed, and people posting out these disingenuous statistics about how kickers get paid more money than the average running back. There's usually 3 to 4 running backs on a team. There's one kicker. So every single kicker on every single team is the starting kicker. Not every running back is the starting running back. So obviously the 4th string, 3rd string guy that's a borderline freaking practice squad guy, he gets paid less money than the guy that's making $11 million a season. He brings down the average. If he's making $250,000 a year or $500,000 a year, then clearly he brings down the average of the guy that's making $11 million a season as a starting running back. So to sit there and try to say that every kicker makes more than every running back on average, yeah, that's right, because every kicker that's paid by a team is the starting kicker. Not every running back's the starting running back. If you gave me the top 50 running backs, they all make more than the top 32 kickers because the other kickers are not employed. So you have 2 options in the NFL if you're a kicker. Be the starter or not have a job.
I understand where the running backs are coming from because everybody knows the average, career span of a running back is like 5 years, and you want to get your money and get out before you're useless. And everybody can understand that point. But if you don't understand as a football player, as somebody that's part of the league, why a quarterback is more valuable than you, you're a moron, especially now when today is so pass heavy. Like, do you really think that the quarterback doesn't deserve those monster because a good quarterback will be there for 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
I should say a great quarterback. While a great running back, what's the longest lifespan of a running back
that I've ever seen? Emmitt Smith was there for 20 years. But again, he's
and then after that, what the drop off is what?
Probably at year 10. If they do 10, if they're 30 years old, so they did 8 years in the league, 9 years in the league, that's a lot.
Right. Yeah. But that's what I mean. It's like great quarterback, the top echelon, the top tier quarterbacks in the league generally do 15 to 20 years.
I don't think that the running backs are saying that quarterbacks don't deserve their pay. They're saying that they deserve, I deserve mine too. But here's the problem.
But they don't have that fact. They don't make that much of an impact on the game where you can throw $100 million on somebody for fucking 2 or 3 years and that's it.
No, they do. They make a huge impact on the game. But I can go draft another guy to do the same thing in the 7th round. That's what the Chiefs are doing. Austin Eckler had the nerve to sit there and go like, Nate, show me a franchise that doesn't have a great running game and they're successful. And then they'll show you the last 10 Super Bowl winners all had guys that made $1 million a year.
Right.
Yeah. So we look at somebody like Le'Veon Bell, right? Great running back, arguably the best running back in the league. He sat out for a year, goes to the Jets, get paid big money, fucking shit. Garbage.
Yep.
How many guys do we know they play great for 5 years? They get the big deal. They sign the deal, tear the ACL the next day. They are never the same again, and their career is over 2 years later. But they made that $40 million up front, even though they only played 2 seasons. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. And then these guys are mad that they're not like, dude, like, if you don't like it, quit. Quit. You're a real like the rest of us, because I'm not going to feel bad for a multimillionaire playing a child's game. I don't feel bad at all.
You can actually blame Le'Veon Bell for this. You know what I mean? You can blame Le'Veon Bell for this. He got all that money and was nothing afterwards. That's like a cautionary tale for owners to be like, I'm not paying a guy like this running back that much money.
Why would you invest that much money into a running back when somebody else is younger, faster, stronger, and can do it for 2 or 3 seasons for peanuts on the dollar? It's just like, I'm not saying that some running backs don't deserve, like Saquon Barkley obviously is just a specimen at running back. You know what I mean? Tremendous athlete, but if he doesn't understand like the risk reward of giving him a long contract or a shit ton of money, then I like maybe his agent can explain it to him. Like, yeah, you have a certain value to the team, and that's all well and good, but you can't compare yourself to a wide receiver or a quarterback who's going to have way more longevity in a pass-heavy league, right? That there's not 6 other guys that is right behind him that can eke out 5 yards as well.
It's real simple. Just switch your position. Go play wide receiver. Stop playing running back. Go play wide receiver. I promise you, the game is not going to suffer if they don't run the ball anymore.
Somebody this about Saquon though. Without Saquon, he kind of got fucked once Daniel Jones got paid. And I actually wish the Giants did the opposite. I wish they had got the deal done with Saquon. I would have been okay with paying him, even though he's a running back. Team-friendly deal. And then tag Daniel Jones.
I got you. We're running out of time here. I like that. Jets reported today. Did anybody happen to catch Michael Clemens show up to Jets practice today?
Yeah, he's a scary man. I don't want to be anywhere near him.
Yeah, dude. I saw that picture and it's just like, okay.
He showed up
won't hurt me.
Bare-chested, carrying a baseball bat with barbed wire on it, like he's fucking Negan from The Walking Dead. If you're an offensive player in the NFL, running back or quarterback, or a wide receiver who happens to be carrying the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and Michael Clemens is on the field, I beg you, avoid that man. He is dangerous.
I guarantee you that dude.
With all due respect, Michael Clemens, you're dangerous. With all due respect, I don't take it to
that's a compliment.
He will hit you, and your soul will leave your body.
Your kids are going to feel the injury.
Like him carrying that Negan bat was completely unnecessary because he's intimidating without any weapons. Yeah. He's intimidating, smiling, eating cotton candy at the fair with his children. Like he's still intimidating. Like, you know what I mean? Like that guy could be petting a fucking goat at a petting zoo with a whole bunch of children and reading fucking story time. And I'd still be like, that guy's a bad man. He will fuck people up.
We showed a video of him. They gave him the game ball. And Coach Sala, I think it was Coach Sala, was just like, Michael Clemens, and just by saying his name, he like gave him the dirtiest look ever, and he was like, "You have the game ball," and it was like, "Okay."
I think they
no joy.
I think they called him Debo. But Jets show up. I don't know if you guys caught that sneak peek at the throwback jerseys for this season. Jets will be wearing the '80s jerseys that everybody for some reason seems to love. It's
why?
It's just a plain fucking jersey. It literally, I have it right here. I'm not going to get up and show it to you guys, but if you haven't seen the 80s jersey, it's literally a white jersey with 2 stripes on the sleeves. It's like 8,000 other generic teams in America wear the same fucking thing. I don't understand why everybody, that's clean. Then we'll just wear green shirts with no numbers and no stripes. It'll be even more clean because
I'm with you.
It's the simplicity. It's not simplicity. It's fucking boring. It's boring. And it doesn't even represent a time where they were actually good because they didn't win shit in the 80s.
Yeah.
They had a great defensive line. They had one Hall of Famer on that line. He barely got in on the fucking Veterans Committee. All right, I'm not trying to take away anything from Joe Klecko, but stop making it seem like he was Michael Strahan.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing special or fantastic about that jersey.
At least the fucking 90s jersey, the late 90s, 2000s, and 60s jersey. Obviously, the 2000s jersey is supposed to be referencing the 60s jersey. The 60s, they won the fucking Super Bowl. So, like, you throw it back to the last time you were actually good. I get it. But to sit there, let's reminisce about the time that we still couldn't fucking win. Like, give me a fucking break.
Did they at least do the old school Jets and a logo on the helmet?
Yeah, but they're going to put the old school Jets logo on the new helmet because they already have 2 helmets. You're only authorized to wear 2 helmets throughout the season. So they already have the black helmet. So they're going to take the shit sticker that they have on the new helmet and they're going to put the old 80s logo, which is a great logo, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good logo.
It is. So before we get lost real quick, I just want to mention how I don't understand why everybody's up in arms and shitting on the Jets because they're sitting there saying that they don't want to be part of Hard Knocks. And had from Jump Street, nobody wanted to be involved in Hard Knocks, and they're just stuck doing it. And everybody wants to be pissy, like, "Oh, fuck you, dude! Like, just do it." It's like, yo, they're literally trying to make a playoff run, and they're doing it for us fan base, like the fan base that's like begging for something to be proud of. Right. And they're like, yo, we don't want distractions. And they're like, yo, fuck you. You think you're better than Hard Knocks? Yes, because we're here to play football and win games, not be on TV.
I'm
Like,
hoping.
what's wrong with what their take on it? I don't understand why people are pissed.
I'm hoping this season's so boring they just cancel Hard Knocks because they're like, yeah, that's awful.
100%.
Yeah.
Stupid. I agree.
But we got to get going. We're running out of time. I'm getting the wrap it up music going. We appreciate you guys spending this time with you. Hopefully by next week we'll have some better information, pictures of that new Jets jersey that's coming out, and we'll catch you again next time. Next time. Look out for the Wrestling Addicts next week. Matt and I are doing a little something, and we'll catch you then. Be good, stay good, and we'll catch you later.